Batman and Robin number 12, written by Joshua Williamson with art by Juan Ferreira, Steve Wands on letters, because Juan does all of it, does not do inks. I was told
Sure
he does the art and colors, and it looks great. It looks great as always. Yet you don't get to have a lot of cross sections as much. You do in the Batcave deal, but when you're on the island, obviously you can't do that. But a lot of the dinosaurs look really cool. There's like some 3D effects going on. I see a Triceratops in the back. I wanted to see more of him. But you end up pretty much Damian, who is going to kill Bane.
He wants to kill you, Bane.
He's pissed off. He wants to get revenge for what Bane did to Alfred. And I think a lot of people would like seeing that. The problem is that, what does that do for Damian, especially with Batman? Now, in the meantime, you have Batman and Vengeance squaring off.
The daughter of Bane.
And Batman's more like trying to figure out things. He does not want to fight Vengeance. It's obvious, but he wants to figure out things and kind of tell her, listen, you got to stop this nonsense in your daddy. He's causing a lot of problems. But she kind of counters and says, Batman, you're the one who's causing the problems.
That's the funny thing, too. He's like, we're fighting it out. I'm Vengeance and Batman. It's like, listen here, Batman. I know you want me to stop, but let me tell you what's going on and why we're here. See, a while ago, Cobra, they hired us to go and try to create a new Venom that, you don't need all the time, that lasts forever. So me and Daddy, we came to Dinosaur Island because we're trying to extract stuff from the dinosaurs to make this ultimate Venom. But what we made was Venom that made you more animalistic and brutal. And so Cobra, they're like, hey, we still kind of like this shit, but Daddy, he's like, no, we can't send this out into the world. It's too fucking dangerous. So all the Cobra people that keep coming here to get Daddy's formula now, we keep sending them packing because also Daddy's changed a bit. He don't want to kill things.
I like the one Cobra guy that Damian runs over, grabs that dinosaur. He's laying in the background in that first full page spread. That's pretty cool. But the one thing I want to ask, though, they didn't really spell out. She didn't say, hey, we wanted to make this Venom that you only get one dose and it lasts forever. But instead, we use the dino make it. Does it still last forever? Is it the idea that now I'm like, oh, Damian? But they don't really say that. They just
failed in that regard.
They said that all they said though was it ended up making you really pissed off, animalistic, but never said it also didn't do that. But I think that's the case. But when you do that, I was like, oh, Damian, you're done. But it's kind of a cool play until the end where I'm like, why would you do that, Vengeance? But I think Vengeance just wants to fight. I think that she just wants a big fight here, but she's there grabbing Batman. You could tell Batman, he's going to try to, get away from her, but he doesn't seem to be full out, inspired to fight her.
It's a weird way to feel, though, because obviously you want Robin, Damian Wayne, to kick a lot of ass because of who he is, all the training that he's had. But it also feels weird to nerf Bane as much as we did, where Damian has not only a fighting chance,
ridiculous.
But you want to maybe say that Bane's heart's not fully into it as well because he wants to die by the end. It feels weird that Damian is able to kick so much ass in this. I know he's angry and stuff like that.
And he's trained. He's trained, exactly, but if Rey Mysterio goes against The Undertaker, there's going to be some problems for Rey Mysterio, right?
This is the man that broke Batman's back, and obviously Batman trained after that. He's so big. He is, at one point, the biggest thing that DC Comics had for Batman.
Maybe what they should have done at points they have is having him de-Venom. I mean, he has full-out Venom going in, so he is jacked. Maybe you could have had when he went to the island and decided to, not go, especially with this new one they're going. But I'm telling you, Damian, yeah, he knows some pressure points and these things, but you can't get past those muscles. I mean, it's like the muscles have muscles, and there's no way that Damian, a little kid, who they do, again, whenever they have this, they tend to make him look a little bigger. It's still so much of a mismatch that Damian kicking him in the knee, he's going to laugh. He's going to, really? That's what you're doing? But he doesn't have his heart into it. You're right. But that kind of comes after the fact. It's very odd.
Agreed.
And in the meantime, Vengeance just really
This is a very different Bane than we've had in a while.
Again, we haven't had him much, and he's been on the run, and he ends up coming to this island. Just maybe the idea of, he does just, I wanted to be left alone. I know I can't. Just do me in. But in the meantime, yeah, you have Batman kind of giving, and I give Joshua Williamson some credit. A lot of people may not know Vengeance, Bane's daughter. So he does give that classic, you were raised in a vat and you went to Senate. So he does give that really quick background if people didn't know, because she's pretty cool. Me and you both like her. She doesn't do much. And I really thought that at one point you'd have Bane and Batman against each other, kind of squaring off and not doing much, but you have the son and daughter of them go at it, kind of yelling about their father and daughter. But
I think what you kind of have going on here, since Vengeance is so new and their origins between Damian and Vengeance are so similar, you still have early days Damian going on in Vengeance's mind right now, where Damian has progressed to the point where he is willing to show mercy to Bane once he does defeat him.
Yeah, and the weird thing is, it's not even like, but it would be something where, like, Bane would say, look, Batman, the son of the bat is so much better, because at the end, Vengeance just does something so bizarre. But even before that, one of the things that you have here throughout is that as Damian is going after Bane, he's remembering some big moments. And again, they're nice enough. And if you haven't read a bunch, they might get you. But we've seen this over and over. Again, they're nice enough.
The ghosts of Alfred's past.
And in fact, I mean, most of these, for the most part, you could have Jason Todd there. You could have even Dick Grayson, where they have that same kind of deal as Alfred. You know, Damian's a little more over the top, but still they had the idea of that. And then Damian becomes Robin, and at one point says, you don't like
Alfred
me. And he's like, I don't even know
a second
you.
Father.
Yeah. Or a first. I mean, seriously. Especially like a Dick Grayson. But so in that, though, Damian is pissed, and he is the character. He is the person
He's out for blood.
He saw it happen. I still think he should. Yeah,
he was tied to a chair with Alfred tied to a chair 5 feet in front of him and watched it like really up close and personal.
Yeah, I still think that after he gets Bane, he should go right after his dad for Magnum PIing it up there at that point and couldn't get a hold of him.
On vacation,
remember, Damian went into the city of Bane, under orders, and was supposed to hear from Batman. He didn't get back to him because he was there on vacation with Catwoman. But in the meantime,
what a terrible story.
Damian is so awful. It's just the whole thing. And I get Tom King. I won't give him the credit or the ire of killing Alfred, because he at least said, but he throws everybody on the bus. But he was told that was going to lead into the future. So like all of that stuff that we were going to have in the generations and stuff, where Batman was going to quit, all that nonsense. Because, I mean, if you haven't heard, supposedly what was going to happen is that Bane was then going to get killed by the Joker, and then Batman would kill the Joker and decide to retire in that future while he would, disappear then. Sounds awful, but in the meantime...
the clone... I'm trying to remember how it works.
You got a lot of wacky shit going on, right? With
Instead, I think you killed a clone, but then you brought back the Gotham, Hank,
Hank,
from that initial thing. But also gave him reconstructive surgery to look like Bane and brought him back as a zombie and wiped his memories.
And then all of a sudden he got his powers back, and they're like, Bane don't fly. What's up?
God, that's such a weird story.
It's very I mean, the idea of me saying what was originally going to be the story seems convoluted enough, but how they tried to do it then, it didn't work. It didn't work. But that was the reason why Alfred died. He was told to do that to set up the next, rebirth, whatever you would call it then. But yeah, when we get this, there's Damian. He wants revenge, and at points he kicks Bane in the face. I'm like, in the little foot. Then he gets him in the junk. That can hurt, right? He gets him right in the junk. You know that he fights dirty.
I don't know. That knee really fucking is the one that stands up to me.
I'm telling you, the knee. I think he'd just laugh. I don't think he has a trick knee or anything. Though I will tell you, when Bane goes to punch Damian, he does a Rey Mysterio move that I thought he was going to spin around, get his neck, and throw him. I still don't understand the physics of any of that shit. I love it. Yeah, and then all of a sudden we see there's vines and he does the 619. Like, what is he doing? How you set that up, Bane? But at one point, Bane does throw Damian by the cap. I'm telling you, Damian should be really, really hurt, but he keeps coming back because he's inspired. He even tricks Bane at the beginning. And speaking of which, he does get a vine. It's not the 619, but he does kind of get him a bit. But Damian's capable. He is, but I think he's just too small in the long run. But you could say that Bane really isn't into it. Plus, what you really do, and Damian doesn't, I mean, God darn it, Damian, you have a sword. Slice the venom tube. Everybody does that. That's the go-to move.
Well, it's one of those things where I think Damian's heart's so into it that he doesn't want a depowered Bane.
He doesn't want a depowered Bane. What he's going to get is a D-alive Damian. He's going to get killed. I mean, do it. He kicked him in the junk, for crying out loud. But he ends up where, he's like, hey, I'm going to do that. In the meantime, there isn't much for Batman and Vengeance to do. They end up where they talk about that other Venom.
It's exposition to where Vengeance actually goes but I can't let you leave the island, and she's shocked into unconsciousness by Maya, who I totally forgot puts on the island because it's been a month since the last time, and she's been invisible this entire time.
So let me spell it out. Batman didn't do anything. That's what happens every time. Something is solved by somebody else. Batman just walks around. He actually is I'm pretty lucky. Everything goes. He's like Mr. Magoo. He walks around and he's going to fall. Somebody will grab him. All this. It always is somebody else. And it drives me nuts. But it's
the
more
one
of a
thing he
Damian book.
did do is actually make my heart start beating again, because during the fight that he was having with Vengeance, I swore when he hit his head into her mask and gouged out the mask eye hole, I thought her eye would have been gone from that freaking bat ear.
Yeah, that's true. But
it's fine. It's fine.
Also, at one point, if you didn't see it, when Vengeance and Batman are talking, you go off to see that, in fact, Bane is making meth. He's making it in the back of a van. It looked like, I love where they're talking about this Venom, and he just opens a van. It looks like he's got his, science kit. He's like, okay, I'll mix this and that. He's got some vials, but they have that Venom out there that was set up.
He's a very minimalist guy. He knows how to make this. He's made it for years.
So, yeah, and meth, yes. Yeah, he does crack that knee, but I'm telling you, that knee, he doesn't skip leg day. Look at that thing. He's got them boots, too.
I don't care how much freaking legs you're doing. Someone goes full blast down your knee, it doesn't matter.
If I get a little kid, I know he's trained again, he's got some boots on, but I'm telling you, he's there flying into a knee of a guy who's as big as, Arnold Schwarzenegger back in the day. I don't know if it hurt. He's got a lot of muscles there, but then he's going to behead him. I'm like, do it. It's like, oh my God.
Why would you say that?
I don't know. I like it. He's already killed before. He could do it again. He's killed a lot of times. But he decides at the end.
Away from that.
He decides at the end. Well, every time we get away from it, Brother Blood comes up. But he ends up where he, Bane, I actually thought Bane was playing the deal of yeah, please kill me. He's like, I can't do it. He's not upset. But instead, he said Alfred would not want this. And he wouldn't. Alfred wouldn't want him to do that. So he says, I'll show you mercy. And then says he pities him. That's the best way. He says, I had somebody who looked after me. How about you? And he's like, well, I had a stuffed animal in a prison that I was left there because my fucking dad, Bane had no choice. He was in a fucking prison. But yeah, Bane, I think, actually respects Damian after this a little. I think that he's come to go with it. But then Vengeance comes in like an asshole.
Saying, you have that, but Vengeance ain't going to have a bitch for a father. So she's not done with this fight so far and injects Damian from a dart gun with that bestial venom, which is the worst part because I like the art in this book, and I like the story of this whole, Damian still continuing his path of not killing and becoming a better person. But when we have him all, roided up with venom by the end, it actually looks more like the Titan serum that you had in the Arkham Asylum, game series.
Yeah. Also, it looks like that, behemoth of a heretic, even. He looks like a monster. But, yes, but even Bane's like, Vengeance, what the fuck? What have you done? And it might be the idea that she says, well, if you can't take down a little kid, I can't respect you. Now you're evened up, try to take him down. But there's one thing
I am curious to Vengeance motives, though, for the next issue.
I just think it might be that. It might be just I knew you can take him down. I wanted you to. I don't know. But there's one little wild card that we haven't seen. And Maya showing up, I think Goliath comes in and does something, either zips Damian away so he doesn't do anything or kind of gets in the way of things.
Hopefully.
And maybe it soothes the soul of hulking Damian because we haven't seen Goliath. He's been hanging back, and I think that might be what happens. But we'll see. We'll see. And I want to know what when Vengeance tries to explain this, I just wonder, I
was trying to help.
I thought it'd be pretty cool. I thought it'd be neat to see what goes on because he says, hey, and Batman does come in with Maya's like, oh my God, you don't hurt him. Don't kill him. And Batman says, no. He won't, Maya. I saw him. What did she see? She ran. She's ahead of you. She's running ahead of him. I don't know what I saw. But he says, I'm proud of you. Let's go home. And Damian says, yeah, let's go home. And then, not yet. You could have, they would have just left you alone, Vengeance. You could have been there with your daddy, but maybe
Vengeance
she can't
is
take
very
it.
determined with what they talked about before. Nobody gets to leave the island.
Batman owes a little bit of glass there for her her headdress, her mask. But yeah, we'll see. Headdress. I don't know. Yeah, she's a native of the island. Why not? So you end up where all that, ripping apart and stuff. And then you get a Damian, which is so crazy. And he says, I'm not going to kill you. I'm going to break you. All right. Bane's had his back broken a couple times as well. So he can take it. He can take it. He could probably fake it. Just like Batman. We'll have another Tom King thing. He'll have a broken back and he'll just punch the wall a couple times, grab it, and then the back's fixed. It's like a bum shoulder breaking your back, right?
I still don't know how that works.
Nobody does. And then he's just repeating himself ad nauseum. Nonsense. But what would you give this?
I would give this I'm telling you, I like the art a lot, and I like the progression of Damian. It's just not a lot. And I leave the issue wondering why we're doing certain things here. Because, we went so gung-ho. Damian finally confront Bane with the idea then, yeah, I'm not going to do this thing that I made it look like I was going to do the whole time. It's just one of those real cop-out moments because you know he's not going to do it because of how far he's come lately. I like the art, but it's a very weird issue for me. I'm still going to give it a 6 out of 10. I just don't think it's a great issue overall.
Yeah, I'm a 7. I like the art. I like the play of, Damian. We know he won't do it, but he did say, I'm not going to do it. Then he's all roided up and, he has an out now. He could do it. And in the back of his mind, he's like, all right, I can do it now. I'm going to kill this guy. But he even says, I'm just going to break you. Batman obviously is going to try to stop him. There's Maya, and I do believe Goliath will show up. We'll see how that plays out. And then I do want to see Vengeance try to explain her way out of this. She might be kicked off the island by her daddy. Also, Cobra, they're still kind of on the island. You got to take care of them, too. So that'd be kind of funny. But we're ending Joshua Williamson's run. So this is the last story of his. But I like it. I like it more than a lot of the other stuff. Yeah, I believe one more issue. So we'll figure out that and see how it goes. But that